Okay, we're up to the Mishnah on Pei Ches Amid Beis. The Mishnah on Pei Ches Amid Beis. Now the Torah says, "V'neder almano ugerusha kol asher asra al nafsha yakam aleha," as opposed to the father and the husband in the Pasha of the Nedarim and Pashas Matos that have the capacity to be made for neder. Once you're an almano or a gerusha, then there is no one to be made for the neder. So it appears to be like a dove that's pashit. Like, of course, if there's no husband and there's no father and they're out of the picture, of course, memela. So what's this pasuk coming to teach me? It must be teaching me a more mechudesh case than what? Than simply a woman who is single for whatever reason. Good. So what's the case? Says the Mishnah. The neder almana gerusha yakam aleha. The neder of the mother gerusha, it should be stand for her. Ketzad Amra. She says, Hareini Nazira la'acha shloshim yom. She says a neder now that she'll become a Nazira after 30 days. So guys, there's an Amira. The Amira is on April 1st, and 30 days later on April 30th, then she says the Nazira should be chal. So be aware, the neder itself and the chalais of the neder are two different periods, right? The Amira is on one day, much earlier, and 30 days later is the chalais of the neder. Now, on April 1st, she is either a single girl or what? She's an almana or a grusha. And now, afa pishe nisas b'toich lamed yoim, even though she marries within those 30 days, so she gets married on April 15th. So the chalais of the neder is going to be when? Guys, the chalais of the neder will be on the 30th. So can that husband be made for the neder? After all, when the neder comes into being, she's a married woman. When the neder comes into being, she's a married woman because she got married on the 15th. Says the Gemara, that is the case of what? Where you won't be able to do it. This is a case of being made for b'koidmin. Why, guys? Because we go after the Amira on the 1st and not after the Chalos on the 30th. So the 15th, when it takes place, right? The neder was 15 days before. We go after the Amira of the neder. And so it would be a case of being made for B'kodmin, taking a neder of something that took place before. And that's what the pasuk says, despite the fact that what? Since she was a neder and a gerusha at the time of the neder, guys, that's the chiddush of the pasuk. It's not pshat she's still an almana or a gerusha. She's no longer an almana or gerusha. She's not an almana or gerusha. Nonetheless, you can't take off the neder because we go after the amira. Guys, good? Guys, good? Goes after the Amira. Okay, another case, Amid Aleph. Nadra Bihi Bershus Habal. She makes a neder. At the time makes a neder, she's in the Bershus of a husband. And when she made the neder, and what? Meifala. Then what? He could go ahead and take it off. Meifala. What's the case? Kate said, Amra Hareini Nazira La'achad Lamid. I'll be in Nazira after 30 days. Afal Pishin is Alman is Gasha B'Toch Lamid, even though she's Niskarsha B'Toch Lamid, Harry's a Mufa. So what happened? Guys, listen to the following. On the 1st, she made a neder to be a Nazir. On the 15th, and then to be a Nazir on the 30th. On the 15th, the husband took off the neder. By the time the 30th came around, he was dead. Now she's a single person. Nonetheless, since we go after the Amira, the hafara takes place, right? The hafara takes place despite the fact that chalois didn't take place yet. So this is an example of lahakal ulahachmir. In the first scenario where machmir, you can't take it off. Over here, it works the lahakal, amira works the mekel, since even though the chalois is the 30th, since it was removed on the 15th, and we go after the amira on the 1st, and therefore by the 15th, she was a regular married woman, that the husband could take off the neder. So a case of almana gerusha, a first ratio lahachmir, and the seifa lehakal. And this again, in case you're going after the amira. That's case number 2. Yeah.
Let's say in the first case, the husband found out after they got married. So when he first found out, could he take off the name? Could he be made for it? In the first case where he married,
of course not.
He married her.
You go after the amira. It's irrelevant what he finds out afterwards.
Okay.
It's irrelevant. You go after the amira.
Okay. I just thought because he found out, he didn't know about it.
It has nothing to do with him. It has to do with what are you going after? You're going after the amira. You're going after what? You're going after the chalais of the neder. So again, so outside, good to Vach Reb Shimon. We go outside where a pasuk neder gerusha v'almana. It's the neder of a gerusha almana yakim aleha. What's the case? The case is she made the neder on the first that the chalosh should be on the 30th. She made the neder on the first that the chalosh should be on the 30th. Right. She's a single woman. She now gets married on the 15th. So when the chalosh is on the 30th, right, you'd say, well, she's a married woman, let the husband take off the neder. Says the Mishnah, no, you go after the Amira. And since the Amira was on the first, and therefore she was a single woman at the time, it's a case of being made for B'kaidmin, and he won't be able to take it off. Conversely, the other way around, she makes the neder on the first. The husband takes it off on the 15th. The chalois is on the 30th, and she's amad, and she's a single woman on the 30th. Nonetheless, the neder is removed. Why? Because we go after the Amira and the 15th. There you go. So despite the fact that Chalais is later, we go after the Amira and the neder is removed. That's case number 2. Okay. Case number 3. Nadra boy bayoim. She makes a neder that day. Vinis garsha boy bayoim, and she gets divorced that day. So she's married. When the neder might be the case of what Heshi is trying to refer to. She makes a neder, the husband does not know about the neder. Then Miskashi gets divorced, the Exira boy bayoim, and she remarries the guy on the same day. And now he hears about the neder. Nonetheless, you can't go ahead and be mefer. Why? Because she was a free woman. Once she was a free woman, that takes, even though you go after the Amira, he was married at the time of the neder. Once she's out of his reshus, she's out of his reshus, and he no longer can go ahead and take off neder. This is the rule. Anyone who goes into their own jurisdiction, even for 1 hour, you're not able to be mefer. So since she was married at the time of the neder, right? She was married at the time of the neder. Now this is not a neder that's based upon similar to the first case. It's not a first and 30th case. It's a regular neder. She makes a neder on April 1st. And on April 1st, she gets divorced. And April 1st, she remarries her husband. And the husband finds out about the neder on April 1st. Nonetheless, since she was divorced for that period of time, she's a free agent, he can't take off the neder. That's the din. That's the rule. We saw this earlier in the Masechta. That's the rule. Okay, now, this din of the Mishnah that you go after Amira apparently is dependent upon a machloikis between Rabbi Yishmael and Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Yishmael seems to say you go after the chalais, you go after the 30th, not the first. Rabbi Akiva says you go after the first. Good. So now the question is going to be: is the Mishnah only according to Rabbi Akiva, or could the Mishnah be even according to Rabbi Yishmael? Good. The Gemara is going to conclude that the Mishnah could even be according to Rabbi Yishmael. We'll see it in the Gemara. That's the foreshadow of the Gemara. Let's see it inside. Says the Gemara, Tanya. Lenny, I really need it. My eyes are not good. Tanya Almana Ugerusha Sha'amra Hareini Nazira. I am a Nazira Enase. She says the following: I will become a Nazir, right? Right. What's the case? Almana Gerusha Sha'amra. She's an Almana and a Gerusha. She says, I'll become a Nazira when I get married. So l'chayre, this is similar to that would be a chalais on something later on. In other words, the Amira is now, and you're making the Mira contingent upon another action, the act of marriage. In the first case, it was contingent upon the passage of time, 30 days. Here it's also contingent, but not on time. It's contingent upon the act of marriage. Good? So she says, and Vanessa, and she gets married. So guys, we have here an Amira and a chalais. Let's do the Gemara. Before we do the Gemara, guys, what's your Amira? My Amira is right now. When's the Chalois? When I get married. So apparently it's an analog to a Mishnah, where you had an Amira on April 1 and a Chalois on April 30th. So here you have an Amira on whatever day it is, and you have the Chalois when she gets married. Good? What's the din? Rabbi Shmuel Lema Yafa. Rabbi Shmuel says the husband, in fact, could take off the neder. Rabbi Akiva Amar Lo Yafer. Guys, what's the parent svaras hamachloikis? Rabbi Shmuel goes after the chalais. When's the chalois of the neder? When she gets married. Oh, if the neder is chal when she's married, right? And therefore what? It's a neder. She made the neder in the husband's rishus. He could take it off. A husband could take it off. Mashenkin according to Rabbi Akiva, you don't go after what? You don't go after the chalois. You go after the amira. And the amira, she was what? She wasn't married, and therefore it says Rabbi Akiva la yafer. You can't take it off. Apparently, who's the Tana of our Mishnah who says, right, you go after the amira? Rabbi Akiva and not Rabbi Yishmael. Another case. Now, if there's a funny siman over here. It says the siman yud lamed lamed yud. I saw a pshat that this is going on Rabbi Yishmael, that the yud is yafer, the next case is lo yafer, and then there's lo yafer, and the next one is yafer. That's one pshat. I saw another pshat that very interesting. I'll quote a sefer called Sefer Lamatseach LeDavid, that Yalala is the lashon of Yalala, means to wail. Yalala means to wail, and it comes to go ahead and allude to the Shita Rabbi Yishmael, who says that they made a takana that to make it easier for the woman to get married, that to be able to be made for Nedarim when they're still right. So he made it easier for the woman to get married by saying that they could take off Nedarim. And on Daf Samech Vav we saw, if you go back, the Gemara, the Mespeidim, the girls used to go ahead and wail on Rabbi Yishmael, who made it easier for them to get married. So very geschmack. The Yalal is going on, like the Sefer Lamatseach LeDavid, it's going on the women, Simon Yalala, that about Rabbi Yishmael, because Rabbi Yishmael, they would wail when they get married, because he would make it easier for them to get married. Okay, that's the Yalala over here. And there's the Gersa that you don't have it at all. Okay, so now, let's see what we got. So we have one case over here. She's in a zero when she gets married. Now, next case, Rabbi Yishmael, Eishes Isha Amra, she's married. Harini Nazira L'chshe Iskaresh. I'll be a Nazira when I get divorced. V'niskarsha, and she gets divorced. Again, a guy's an Amira and a Chalois. Exact same case. Rabbi Yishmael Loimer Lo Yafer. You can't take it off because you go after the Chalois. And after the Chalois, she what? She's not married anymore. Rabbi Akiva says Yafer. He could take it off while he's married, not after he's divorced. He could take it off while he's married because you go after the Amira. So Rabbi Yishmael, how are you? The pasuk says, "V'neder almana gerusha yakam alecha, ad shehei neder b'shas almana is ugerusha." The hakpada is that the neder is there when she's an almana and a gerusha. So you see, you're going after the chalois. You don't go after the amira. You go after neder. The neder is in fact in vogue when she's an almana and gerusha. The other part of the pasuk says, "Haru yomer kolasha asra al nafsha." All that asra al nafsha ad shehei isurei. Right, neder. It's that the issa was created. B'shas almanas gerusha. You don't go after the neder, the chalais of the neder. You go after the creation of the issa. As long as the creation of the issa was almanah gerusha, then you can't take it off. But if it's not. So therefore, each one goes according to their opinion. Rabbi Shmuel goes going after the chalais, and Rabbi Akiva goes after the amira. So going back to our Mishnah, Ketzad. Let's just take one case of our Mishnah. Case number one. She's an almana. April 1st, she says, I should be in the zero April 30th. She gets married on the 15th. Says, according to Rabbi Akiva, you can't take it off, right? Because you go after the Mira. According to Rabbi Yishmael, apparently, you should be able to take it off. According to Rabbi Yishmael, you should be able to take it off. Good. Says the Gemara. Amar of Chisda, says of Chisda, Masnisan, our Mishnah, Rabbi Akiva is according to Rabbi Akiva that says you go after the Amira. Abaye says no. Afilu Tema Rabbi Yishmael. You can even say our Mishnah is Rabbi Yishmael, and the Gemara is going to make a difference between a neder that the chalois is contingent on the passage of time, and the neder that's chalois that's contingent upon an action of gerushin or an action of nisuin. Okay. Masnisan Talia Nafshe Biyuma. In our Mishnah, she's making her Naziris Tali in passage of time, right? And in the Brisa, Talia Nafshe Bin Nisuin. Okay. So now, Sholma Yume V'loy Niskarsha, in the second case, if the days passed and she didn't get divorced, or Sholme Yume V'loy Mitzvah, or the days passed and she didn't get married. Says the Ran. Afilu Tem Rabbi Yishmael. Beautiful Ran, guys. The Chiyasa Rabbi Yishmael Basa Chalois Haneder. When does Rabbi Yishmael go after the Chalois? In other words, after she's divorced, after she's married. Hanimili Kitalian Nafshe bin Asuna Begerishin. Dafka, when she makes her Naziris or her neder, contingent upon the act of Gerishin or Nasuin. Hilkach. Since it's not possible that the Amira and the Neder should be in the same Rishus, guys, the Amira, in case number one, she was a married woman. The Chalois is when she's not a married woman. Case number two, the Amira was when she was not married, and the Chalais was when she was married. In other words, the Amira of the Neder and the Chalais of the Neder are in two different Rishuyos. One, she's a free agent. The other one, she's married. One, she's married. The other one, she's a free agent. Then, when you have those two components, you go after the Chalais. Our Mishnah, guys, right? She's in the same Rishus. Says, Avol Masnisan Bleitalian Ashe Ela Biyuma. In our Mishnah, she's totally nefesh in days. It's possible that the days will pass by and she won't get married. The days will pass by and she won't get divorced. And therefore, the Amira of the Neder and the Chalais of the Neder would be in the same Rishus. Even when she does change, she needs to say Niskarsha. In other words, in our case, when you make a contingent upon time, it's the possibility exists for that time not to be married or not to be divorced. Good. So even though in our case in our Mishnah, she did get married, she should get divorced, still you go after, then I'd be more than you go after the Amira. So here's the way the Ran explains the Gemara. Let's do it outside. When you know for sure that the Amir is going to be in one Rishus and the Chalais is going to be another Rishus. In other words, it's not possible that you should be in the same Rishus. Then Rabbi Shmuel says you go after the Chalais. However, if you make something contingent upon time, day 1 and day 30, so it's possible day 1 and day 30 that you didn't get divorced and you didn't go out and you didn't get married. So since it's possible to be in one Rishus, then he would agree you go after the Amira. Our Mishnah is speaking about a case where you did get divorced or you did get married. It doesn't make a difference because making it the contingency dependent upon time creates the possibility for you to be in the same Rishus. In other words, a regular married woman says, I should be married, I should be a Nazir in 30 days. The guy doesn't do anything. It's possible for her to be in Nazir in 30 days in the same Rishus to the husband, right? So therefore, in that case, Rabbi Shmuel would agree with Rabbi Akiva. Thus, according to Abaya, Rabbi Shmuel could be the Tana of our Mishnah. Thus, according to Abaya, could be the Tana of our Mishnah. Early in the Masechet Naf Ayin Aleph, we had a rule by Naim Rasa. Lasuye Holech Ha'av Im Shluchi Abal. Again, we remember just a reminder, Naim Rasa, that the father and the husband together in conjunction for that 6-month period, for 12 and a day to 12 and 6 months, in conjunction take the neder off together, correct? Once she leaves, that's only if there's no nisuin. If there's nisuin, then what? No one takes off the neder. The father can't take it off because she's no longer in the rishus, and the husband can't take it off because he can't be made for bekoidmin. And this is a neder that took place before. Good. So now, let's say the father accompanied the shluchi abal. So the vio that still he didn't lose his right since he accompanied, even though he gave it over to the shliach, or the shlichus of the father accompanied. So she's not in the rishus. They both could take it off. That's what about the klal of our Mishnah? That we learned over here, if the father gave it over to the shluchi abal. So that's like nesuin. If the father gives it over to the shluchi abal, that's tantamount with nesuin. Or the shluchim give over. In other words, now the jurisdiction, the girl is completely in the jurisdiction of the husband. She'ein abal meifa b'koymen. That the baal would not be able to meifa b'koymen. That was the okay. The next piece of Gemara is a very easy piece of Gemara. There are basically three levels of a girl of a kamas of a neder. Either the girl is the Yisoyne b'chaye av, that's if the father would marry her off and then she gets divorced or her husband dies. So the father's alive, but she's in her own jurisdiction. That's called the Yisoyne b'chaye av. There's a Baigeres, and there's a Yisoyne mamish. So those three, you can't take off the neder. In those three, we can break it down to three more cases. So each three is going to have three cases, a total of 9 cases. Good? So let's see the Mishnah. Tisha na'arais, there are 9 na'arais. Nidreim kayamim, who's the daramai mekuyim. The first 3, and what are the 3? Baigeres, it's the first 3 are going to be Yisoyme b'chaye av. Okay? The first 3 are going to be. Now, a Baigeres that made a neder, v'hi Yisoyma, and she already is Yisoyme b'chaye av, meaning when she was a Katan or an Ira, her father, she had been married and she became an Almana or a Gerusha. So her father's alive, so she's a Yisoyme b'chaye av. She got married when she was a Katana or an Ira. Her husband died or divorced her, and now she becomes a Baigeres. In this case, you can't be Mekayim the neder. That's case number 1. Naira ubagra v'hi Yisoyma. Let's say she was a Naira, and afterwards she became a Baigeres, and then what? And when she was a Naira, she was a Yisoyme b'chaye av. That's a case number 2. Case number 3, Naira shaloi bagra, she's still a Naira, v'Yisoyme b'chaye av. All these 3 cases, the neder is mekuyim. The father lost the right to take off the neder as soon as she got divorced or became an almana from the first marriage. Next case is Baigeres. 3 cases for Baigeres. Baigeres umesavia. It comes to Yisoyma, guys. Case of regular Yisoyma. Baigeres umesavia. Naira Baigeres umesavia. Naira shlei bagra umesavia. Okay, all 3 cases she loses. This neder is mekuyim. The next case is a classic Yisoyma. Naira shemesavia. Mishemesavia bagra. Baigeres v'avia kayim. Naira Baigeres v'avia kayim. So these are all. I think the last case is the case of Yisoyma, and now this is the case of Baigeres. Naira shemesavia mishemesavia bagra. Baigeres v'avia kayim, or Naira Baigeres v'avia kayim. So these are the 9 cases. Rabbi Yehuda says in the 10th case, Afa mesi bita yakatana. Even someone marries off his daughter when she's a katana, binis almula oynis garsha, and she became an almana or a gerusha. V'chazve etzloi v'adayin hi naira, and she goes back. When she's almana or gerusha, she goes back to right, and she didn't become a gerus. She's still a naira. That case also, he would lose the right to be makem. Rabbi Yehuda Rav says we who the name of Rav. Zu de Rabbi Yehuda. These are the words of Rabbi Yehuda. In other words, you had three categories and 3 subcategories, correct? Each one. The Chachamim learned 3 categories. What are they? Right? The Baigeres, the Yisoyma b'chaye av, and the Yisoyma in the father. Okay, the next sugya it continues on, so we should start this tomorrow morning. Bez Hashem, she'll be tomorrow morning, probably 9:50, 9:30.